Hi, everyone. I'm Clyde Bryant, and welcome to episode 12 of the Uptown Experts podcast. I'm sitting here today with Dr. Jen Cisterino. Jen, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
This is really exciting for me.
Well, I think we talked about doing this a while ago.
Yeah.
Right? And of course, life gets in the way.
Yes.
But we found time on a beautiful day.
It's gorgeous. The
And
sun is out.
Yes.
Beautiful.
All the things that we needed to make sure today was special.
Yes.
Right? So why don't we get into it?
Okay.
And let's tell everybody who is Dr. Jen?
Oh my gosh. That's an interesting thing for me to ponder. I am a naturopath.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if I can go back. So I graduated in 2011 from the Naturopathic College and went on to do private practice for a while. And that was, I think, about 8 years. And then the pandemic hit at the same time my daughter was born.
Oh.
So since 2020, I went from in-person care to virtual care, which has been fantastic. Mm-hmm. I have 2 children now. So my definition of who am I has changed.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in the thick of motherhood, sometimes you have to be removed from that situation to figure out, who am I? And I think that always changes, and it changes for everybody.
It does.
Over the years, and it's a beautiful thing, right? So I am here to obviously help people better their health, in mind, body, and spirit. I put my best foot forward in my family and in my career, and I guess we'll touch more upon what I do and the specifics of what I do. But I'm really excited to be here. I must say, if I could be honest, I think it's probably been 4 years since I've stepped out of that virtual space into doing something that's a little bit more one-on-one, face-to-face
in person,
which is kind of exciting for me, right? Like I'm ready to get out and do this and be there for more patients in this kind of setting, which is awesome.
Awesome,
so
exactly.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, we're super excited to have you, and thinking about having you on and having this conversation as it relates to just everyday living, and making the commitment to yourself to have a healthy lifestyle, right? To make healthy choices, and then taking it that step further and thinking about how those healthy choices relate not just to your obviously day-to-day health, general living, but for myself as a business professional, how those choices also guide you as a business person, right? And I know we were talking a little bit earlier, and I was saying to you, the choices that you make with your health serve as kind of like the foundation of who you are, right? And so when we think about a person making good, healthy choices and having that commitment to themselves, and then how does that, having that translate to their business is something that, in my honest opinion, is something that would translate to their business, right? Because they're making that commitment to themselves.
Absolutely.
So, why don't you tell us why you decided to become a naturopathic doctor?
It might sound cliche, but it was really a calling. I have always been someone who valued being healthy and wanting to eat well, to perform, because I was an athlete growing up. I loved sport. Soccer's my sport, but I played all the sports. I was naturally, I guess, athletically inclined, and it was important for me to, eat well and get good rest. And I guess from there, I went on to pursue, a part-time job as a personal trainer. And while pursuing my studies at York University in kinesiology, again, all about the body, the mind, health, physical health. Also played soccer at the varsity level, which sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, of course. Listen,
it was hard times. Let me tell you.
At York?
At York.
Yeah, another York alumni here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So those were fun times. But going back to why I decided, actually, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So after completing my 4-year undergraduate degree at at York University in kinesiology. I started working as a kinesiologist in a physiotherapy clinic, just helping people rehab and get better, right? And mobilize their body. But I found there was something missing there. Even with my personal training, I found, yeah, you can work out, you can get in good physical shape, but what about those other pieces of the puzzle, right? Like, what about the mindset? What about what you're eating day in and day out? The stress, how is that affecting your body?
Exactly.
So then I went on to look at other ways to help people, attended different, postgraduate diplomas, and stumbled upon a naturopathic doctor and thought to myself, this sounds interesting. It kind of encompasses, the medical side of health while utilizing natural therapies, which I was all about. Like, I wasn't one to take, I guess Advil would have been the only thing I would have if necessary to kind of quell some of the inflammation from all those training days at York, truth be told, right? Or those cold plunges just sometimes weren't enough. So I stumbled upon a naturopath and I went to the open house, which actually was conveniently located in Toronto, right? Not far from where I was living. And I just had this gut feeling, this is where I'm meant to be. This is what I'm meant to do. And, I remember going to my parents one night and saying to them, I want to be a naturopath. And this was back in, I think, 2006 or 7. And
did they even know what a naturopath
they didn't.
was?
No, they didn't know. And they're like, are you sure? Why don't you just, become a medical doctor, go to medical school? And I just felt in my gut, no, this wasn't for me. And, fast forward, I haven't looked back. They haven't looked back, and they see me flourishing in my practice, helping people in this capacity, and it's very rewarding. So this is my why. It is something that I strongly am passionate about in helping people. I've seen over the past 12 years of helping people with this kind of thing, that it is the grassroots of health and true healing, essentially. Right?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, you think about someone feels unwell.
Yeah.
And naturally they'll say, okay, let me call my doctor, right? I'm going to go to a walk-in clinic and I'm going to seek whatever type of medical advice that they're going to receive. But at what point in time does someone say, I need to go see a naturopath?
I'll tell you, oftentimes it's when they're desperate. It's when they're desperate. They're calling and they have exhausted all options, or they feel that their doctor has not given them what they are looking for. And they are, coming in looking for that fix. And I can sense that with certain patients, not all.
Myself
some of them
included, it's okay.
Yeah. Not all. Some people just will call me and they'll be like, hey, I just want to prevent disease. And I'm like, beautiful. Let's prevent disease. And we go from there. But most people will, as a last resort, which people have it backwards, you should be seeing a naturopath to optimize your health. And again, if you have a condition and the medical community is not answering your needs, or you still feel unwell, you've exhausted the options. Yes, we have so many tools as naturopaths in our tool belt. So a lot of people don't realize, but as naturopaths, we have a medical foundation. So the medical knowledge that we have is very similar to what a medical physician will go through school. And then the remaining years of a medical doctor's education will come more like pharmaceutical. They'll learn more about pharmaceutical, surgery, like all those other invasive procedures that are necessary when the time is right. And as a naturopath, after our 2 years of medical training, then we embark upon the other modalities like acupuncture, meditation, stress management, herbal medicine, supplementation, nutrition, which is huge. That foundational knowledge of health and healing.
But and forgive me, and I don't overstep or, not knocking any doctors out there that might not be naturopaths, but everything that you just listed in terms of stress management, inflammation, all of these things, are those not the day-to-day worries for the everyday person, like for every individual? Isn't that the stuff that we should be worrying about versus just seeing a doctor when we're feeling sick?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think a lot of people, they'll go until they can't go anymore. And I'm not sure why that is, but if some will just ignore their symptoms, and they'll wait till they have a diagnosis or they are feeling really ill to go. But that's not everyone. And if you're listening,
me.
I'm encouraging, you to check in with your doctor, go for a yearly physical, get just blood panel done, just to rule out, some of the things like, high blood pressure or cholesterol or a thyroid condition. Like, you don't have to have a reason for going to see your doctor.
No.
You also don't have to have a reason for going to see a naturopath other than, I want to take a closer look at my health. And we can do that. So if someone comes to see me and says, hey, I see a doctor, I have a doctor, and that's great. I want you to have a family doctor. We live in Canada, right? That's important to have a family doctor. There are certain things they can order that I can't, and vice versa. And so we can run a battery of tests. We can look at nutrient panels. Some people want to know, do I have a healthy amount of vitamins? Or this is what I'm starting to see a lot of, and I think this has happened post-pandemic. A lot of people are coming in on many different supplements. And not all supplements are made equal, and not everyone needs to be on the supplements they're taking. So a good naturopath will sit down with you, hear your health history, hear your needs, maybe do some extra testing to see if you need to be on zinc, if you need to be on a B vitamin or a fish oil or a probiotic, right? So it's, yes, you can walk into a health food store and you can pick up any supplement, right? Do you need it? Do you need to be on it? Is it the right one for you? How do you know?
How do we know?
Yeah, how do you know? You talk to someone who knows how to decipher, who knows your health, does extra testing and can advise you properly. And that's important, right?
I think it's extremely important.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, for anyone that is focused on being a healthy individual, and I look at it. I'll just speak for myself, and when I made the decision to say I wanted to be a better version of me, and like you were talking about, dealing with inflammation, and am I taking the right vitamins and minerals? I'm like, and I came to you. I was on. I don't even remember. It's like here, Jenna, here's my list. I take this vitamin and this and this, and you're like, okay, stop, right? And let's start again, right? And it's honestly the best thing that I ever did. And mixing my regular workout routines with, everything that we've done, in our constant conversations, it really has changed my life. And, I look at it and I say now, if someone is dedicated to being the best version of themselves, it wouldn't make sense to not have a naturopathic doctor in your life. Because, I was talking to Kevin. Kevin's my trainer, actually. And, I was talking to Kevin this morning, and, I said to him, Kev, as humans, we often tend to not fulfill our most opportunity, right? We often choose not to be the best versions of ourselves. We limit ourselves. And part of that, I think, if you're, what's the parallel I'm trying to draw here? If you look at it and say, I want to be the best business professional, why would you limit yourself? If you want to be the healthy individual, again, why would you limit yourself? So it's not just about going to work out. It's about having the right vitamins, the right minerals, the right person, naturopath, right, by your side. And so, you think about, I don't know, I said this earlier, you look at a tree. If you give a tree water and everything that it needs, it's going to grow to its full potential. It's not going to stop. But here we are as humans, with knowledge that there are people out there that can help us be the best versions of ourselves, but we're making a choice to not fulfill our maximum potential. And I don't understand that.
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it either, because there are many healthcare professionals, naturopaths, who are there willing to help people. I don't know if this is something that we discuss also amongst just other people, healthcare professionals. I think in Canada, we believe that healthcare should be free, right? You go to a doctor, you don't have to pay out of pocket, right? Testing is covered. And so I think people have this idea that they shouldn't have to pay out of pocket. So when you go see a naturopath and you have to pay, or let's say their insurance doesn't cover what you're paying, I think that stops people from pursuing it. So if I could say one thing, invest in your health.
Of course.
Health is the greatest wealth. Because if you don't invest in taking care of yourself, I feel like it's going to cost you a lot more than, you're willing to pay in the long run.
Well,
so it is an
course.
investment.
It is an investment. You have to invest in yourself. I mean, at the end of the day, we have a fixed amount of time in our lives, but we have unlimited opportunity.
Yeah.
And so if we know this, why wouldn't you want to be the best version of yourself? Why wouldn't you invest in yourself in order to get the best version of you and then achieve whatever it is? It doesn't have to be business. It could be, I want to be healthy enough to, climb the pyramids because I'm going to Egypt. I don't know, whatever it is, right? And, but I think the message here is having the right mindset to actually invest in yourself is something that most people know, something that all people really need to start doing, because it really would change them.
I agree.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I think we've been talking about that one for a little bit. Let me move us on, right? So let me ask you, how would the natural or holistic approaches that someone like yourself would has or brings to the table, how would that positively impact a business person's daily life?
Well, I'll tell you this. If you were to see somebody like myself, you can anticipate a lot of questions. A typical first appointment with a naturopath is about an hour. And in that hour, my goal is to get to know you, on a physical, right, assessment level, an emotional level, which some people are timid, but honestly, emotions, it just ties into life and your health. So there's all those pieces that we put together so that I can help somebody truly. Questions like, how many hours of sleep do you get? Do you sleep well? What time do you go to bed? Do you sleep through the night?
I'm laughing because I was like 2 hours. I'm super stressed.
Yes, sleep honestly is so important. And a lot of people don't prioritize their sleep, but I'll tell you, if you do one thing, try to get better sleep, because it's very important from a hormonal standpoint, just from a whole, optimal thinking, digestion. I mean, the list goes on, but sleep is important. I ask you about your diet, right? What are you eating? Are you putting junk in your body? Why? I mean, that's a loaded question, and that deserves its own.
That's its own podcast.
What
is junk, right?
Yeah,
what is junk?
Or why do you do the things you do, right? Touching upon, if you can, that previous question you had, if you can optimize your well-being and feel amazing, why aren't you doing it?
Why?
And there are layers there. Clyde, there's many layers of why people don't do things to better themselves.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I present company included up until now, I wasn't making healthy choices, right? It was just easier to, get the fast food.
Yeah.
Or it was easier to be out with your friends and have that drink or whatever.
Yeah.
But as crazy as this sounds, saying no to having that alcohol with your friends on a Saturday when they're going to call you, whatever unfun words, is probably not something that we want to go through. So we give into that peer pressure.
Of course.
Understanding that, are there any benefits to alcohol, Dr. Jen?
Are there?
Are there any?
No.
I didn't think so. None that I know of either.
No.
So not a great choice, right?
No.
Not something that we probably need in our lives. No. And, if you have a choice between, no offense to the fast food providers, or going out and getting that healthy salad or rice with whatever, why not make that extra 5-minute drive or order it in like we were talking about earlier? Because now at least you have that healthy meal, right? Because it's an investment in you.
Yeah.
And anything that's going to be an investment in you, well, hey, if it costs a couple bucks, that's the cost of health, right?
You have to have that epiphany or that moment where you wake up and say, okay, I need to make a change. And if you're listening and you're there and you don't know how to go about it, because change is hard.
Yes,
we are creatures of habit.
We are.
To think that you have to change, what you're eating, and you have to give up, the sugar or the cigarettes or the alcohol, right? Those vices that might be providing you some other relief,
some comfort for
some
whatever.
comfort. Yeah, it's hard to change, and I sympathize with people who come to me saying they want to make changes, and when I ask all the questions, and they may be saying, okay, no, I don't drink enough water, no, I don't get enough sleep, no, I don't prioritize me. It can be overwhelming, and when you feel like you have to make all these changes, sometimes you just say, what the heck, I'm not going to make any change. It's just better not to do anything than to do something.
Yeah, it's easier to just, I'm going to keep it the same way it is.
Yeah.
It was a good idea.
Yeah.
But, the execution
the
is what...
thought came and went, right? But, that's part of why I love doing what I do, because I can really nurture that thought and that feeling and work with patients, right, on an individual basis to say, okay, let's start here, right? Let's start even just to say, okay, let's see what's going on in your blood. Yeah. Let's see, why you're finding your energy is lagging. Maybe there's an iron issue, maybe there's an anemia, or maybe there's a hormonal issue we can identify. And then if we can start putting the pieces together and work slowly on helping you to feel better, it might make the change come easier, right? It's like a snowball effect.
Of course. So one of the things that, I get a lot of now, people are asking me, Clyde, like, what did you do? Why, your energy's up, you speak different, you feel different, you look different, what's going on? And, I know I've said this many of times, and I've sent so many people to call you, and I'm like, you just call Dr. Jen, because it's where you should be starting. So why don't we take like 2 minutes just to tell people a little bit about, the testing that you do, if you could explain that very quickly, because I think there's a lot of people that want to just understand, okay, I call you, you're going to ask me a bunch of questions, but what are we looking for? What are we trying to obtain here?
So the beautiful thing about naturopathic doctors in Ontario is that we can order almost every test, that Life Labs has to offer. Very similar to what your doctor can send you for. So, for example, we can look at, a thyroid panel, right? We can look to see if you have any cholesterol issues. We can look at your white blood cells, your red blood cells. We can look to see if you have iron deficiency. We can look at the health of your kidneys. We can look at the health of your liver. We can look at inflammatory markers that might predispose you to cardiovascular disease risks. So those are some of the things we can look at in a comprehensive health panel. And then to further that, if you're more curious and you want to do some other testing, we can look at, a vitamin and nutrient panel to see if you're lacking certain vitamins and minerals like calcium, magnesium, which is a big one, Clyde. A lot of people are low in magnesium. So if you're having a difficult time sleeping, magnesium can definitely help.
Well, I remember when you what's the word I'm looking for? When you prescribed it to me, or you I guess prescribed?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Right. When you prescribed it to me, and I started taking it, I was, I'm like, okay, like I think the first question I asked you was, this isn't actually going to put me to sleep, right? Right? Because I'm not about that. I'm a big, I don't take anything, not even Advil guy, right? So when you're like, well, take this vitamin, it's going to help you sleep. I'm like, I don't know about this. So, but when I started actually committing to it, truthfully, I really find that taking that magnesium makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
I sleep better. And the sleep that I get it's true rest versus I still only sleep 6 hours, Jen. I'm not going to lie to you.
That's better.
But it's a good 6 hours.
Good 6 hours.
Exactly,
quality,
right? Quality sleep.
6 hours.
Exactly. Quality over quantity.
That's
right.
Great.
We'll take it.
We'll take it.
So, for me, that was a big one, right?
Is.
But I know, further to that, you do, and I don't want to butcher the name, but is it a food allergy, food sense?
Yeah.
What can you explain that?
So yes, there is a very popular test that naturopaths can order. It's called a food sensitivity test, an IgG test.
Okay.
So a lot of people come to see me with stomach issues, whether it's bloating, whether it's gas, whether it's constipation, loose stool. Basically, they're wanting to help. They're wanting help in order to decide what digests better in their body. So this test is done through your blood. So you would go to the lab, they would take your blood, and actually they would look at different antigens in your blood to over 220 foods. So it's really remarkable because it can identify what foods are better digested in your individual body. So for example, a report may come back looking at, it's gluten might be something that you're intolerant to, or different forms of dairy. So cow's milk is looked at, sheep's, goat, casein, which is the protein in dairy. Whey is assessed. A lot of people on whey protein.
Yeah, that was me.
Not doing so well, right? You think, hey, I'm having a shake. I feel like I should be feeling good, but people are bloating, gaining weight. Exactly. What's the issue? Could be whey. All different grains are looked at as well, all fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds. I mean, it's a very comprehensive list. So that's called a food sensitivity test that you and I did. And then from that, you can just, look to see what's better digested in your body. And from there, we formulate a meal plan that suits your body and makes you feel good. So that's the food test, really popular. Strongly advise it. It's a fantastic tool.
Yeah, I mean, I know, again, I can just speak from my personal journey, if you will, experience. And, I remember when I first started talking to you this, and again, I don't take this the wrong way. I'm brutally honest. You know me already. I was like, well, what the heck are you talking about? You're gonna do what? Right? This is gonna help. But like you said, I was desperate. I was at the end of, my rope, and, my stomach was hurting every day. And I'm like, I'm tired of living this way. I shouldn't wake up in pain. I shouldn't go to sleep in pain. There's got to be a better way, right? And so I caved, for lack of better words. I trusted the process. I trusted the process, as I often do not do. Okay. And I said, I'm gonna listen to you, and I'm in your hands. Yeah. And I remember this day, and you said, okay, this is what we're gonna do, and we ordered these tests, and it came back with a bunch of findings. And for me, I was very much, okay, if this is what it's saying, there's only one way forward from here. And going back to my earlier comments, if you know that you want to have the best version of yourself, then that for me now means, well, then why should I have, I don't know, the ice cream at 10 o'clock at night like I used to, when it's not really doing well with me, based on some of the findings? Or why should I have that I don't know, pasta instead of having something that I might digest a little bit easier? But all of that information is what actually led to the changes that have allowed me to become a better version, if you will, right? And I think for anyone that has, is experiencing, what do you want to call it? discomfort, right?
Yeah.
And might not know why, and wants to kind of get to the bottom of it. Like that's what started it for me, right? Just wanting better gut health, right? And it's something that I 100% believe in because it's worked, right? And so that gets like my Uptown stamp of approval, right? So
awesome. That's good. It's good to know people who have gone through it, right? And for you to have trusted the process, thank you. That's great. I can only want my patients to trust me in knowing that the decisions I make are for their best, in my best intentions for them to heal, to feel good based on my experience.
Yeah,
right?
Of course. No, I think I should be saying thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So
my pleasure.
Let's talk about what motivates you.
That's a good question. What motivates me?
It's always tough when we ask we have to focus on ourselves.
Yeah. When you first asked me, my kids came to mind right away, but also there's a deep sense of love for myself and that no ego attached at all. It's just a knowing that I'm here for a reason. I'm here for a purpose to better people in a holistic way. And I can't be that if I'm not that way myself. If I don't walk the walk and I don't talk the talk, I can't be there for people in the way they need me. And sitting, whether it's in front of a screen or face to face with someone in the type of work that I do, there's a lot. There's a lot that comes at you, right? People open up, right? People open up about everything in their life. And that I love that. It's important to be that with me so that I can better help you. And so I have to be well, if you will. It's like wellness is I feel like it's in my DNA. It's something that I owe to myself, and it's something I try to practice every day, as much as I can. I'm human. I would be lying if I said I didn't indulge in chocolate, ice cream.
Yeah, I never gave up my chocolate.
Coffees, maybe, one too many some days.
Yeah.
But it is this commitment that I've made to myself, and I just feel that it's something I strive to. And I mean, then you have kids, and they rely on you, and it's hard. It's hard. But then you become. I have found with my children, sleep is tough. Yeah. Struggling with sleep, let's be honest. Yeah. All you mamas and dads out there might know this. I have a 4-year-old and a soon-to-be 1-year-old, so things are busy.
Yeah.
And now, they're seeing what you're eating, and they're seeing what you're doing. And so it's like, all right? My daughter, Olivia, I get on the treadmill every now and again. She's like, Mommy, I want to come on the treadmill too. No problem. Let's get your shoes on, right? Or, I try to make healthy foods for her. I love my vegetables. So it's true. What they see you do has such a great impact on them. So they are part of my why now, which is beautiful. So that's what I do. And I just feel called to continue to help people feel well. And I thank you for the opportunity to be on this podcast. And whomever's listening, if I can help you, that's amazing.
Well, that's what we're hoping. We're hoping that people take the opportunity to listen to some of the things that we talked about here today, and hopefully it rings that bell with them, and they take that opportunity to say, you know what, I'm done feeling the way I feel. I'm done living the life that I'm living. I'm done making the choices that I'm making, and now choose to do better for yourself, right? Because that's what this is all about.
Small baby steps, right? If you're listening and you want to and you feel overwhelmed by some of the choices, or you feel like, yes, I need to make those changes, make a list of things you want to change, or some habits that you don't like that you have on one side, and habits you need to adopt. So drink more water, get more sleep, put my phone away by 8:00 so it's not keeping you up till 11. Get more steps in, and maybe Try to remove a bad habit and adopt a new one for a month or even a week, and just see where that takes you, right?
That's great advice.
Small steps.
Small steps. Yeah, well, what do they say? Small steps, great distances.
There you go. Yeah.
Right? So, I know water is one that I think everybody,
Yeah.
we all hear, you got to drink your,
yeah.
I don't even know what the measurement is anymore. I think we're all being...
Depends on body weight.
Yeah, there you go. We're all being dehydrated by the foods we eat anyway. So
we are.
Drink as much water as you can,
Yeah.
people. But, like you said, making the healthy choices, the small habits with healthy choices, I think can only benefit you, right? So as difficult as it might be, make the choice.
And you have to care enough about yourself.
Which is kind of silly though, right? Like,
Yeah.
shouldn't we all, this sounds cliche, but shouldn't we all love ourselves enough to do what's right for ourselves?
Yeah.
Is that
Health,
selfish?
I posted this the other day. It came to me on Instagram. Your health is your responsibility.
It is.
Right? And a lot of people aren't taking the responsibility of doing the work day in and day out, because it is a day in and day out. It's not you do something for a week, right?
No.
I see a lot of people for weight loss, and I really love helping people lose weight. That's kind of one of my strengths. But they're shocked to know that I don't give you a diet pill. I don't tell you avoid this, and I don't put you on a very low calorie diet. That's not healthy. My approach is, let's get you healthy, let's get you balanced, and let's feed you good, nourishing food that tastes good. Because I love to eat.
I love to eat.
I do. I eat a lot. People don't think I do, but I eat a lot, and I eat a lot of good foods with the occasional indulgence, right? And I think that's important to have that balance. But your health is your responsibility. And I feel like maybe this message might go out to also like moms. A lot of moms feel like kids come first.
Of course.
I need to feed my kids good food, and I'll eat the scraps. I'll feed my kids the healthy smoothie, and I'll just down the coffee.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, I'm a mom myself. I know it's hard, but I am more driven to nurture myself because I have these two
Exactly.
beautiful beings that look to me and need me, right? And it's my responsibility.
Well, they say in the event of an emergency, if you're in a plane, put your mask on first, right?
It's true.
Because how can you help someone else if you're not helping yourself, right? Crazy.
It's yeah. And I don't know if it's a generational thing or if it's a, like there's layers there of why women feel like they can't care for themselves or do good for themselves. But that needs to change. That conversation needs to happen. And
it's a real conversation that needs to happen. And I mean, women and men alike, I think it's time that we make the choice to be better individually. And that will in turn better the family.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. The family, and then like your workplace. When you eat better, you feel better, you're more present, you have more energy to be of service, right? It's a beautiful thing. It's our birthright, and I think we all need to jump in to being healthier and supporting. I think that's important too. Supporting our partners, our friends, people who need to make those hard cutoffs. Like you said, I can't have that drink. I can't be out late at night. Instead of saying, oh, just come on, Clyde, just have one, right?
I got a couple of those friends.
Okay,
I'm not going to name drop, Mike. I'm not going to name drop.
Yeah, that's hard, right? It's hard. So you need to be that support. So if you're making a change, here's my advice. If you're going to make a change, tell one person. You don't have to tell the whole world. You don't have to tell everybody. Tell that one person who has your back. So if you feel like you don't have that support, tell that one person, and hopefully they're there to root you on and come along the journey with you.
Let's phone a friend. Let's do this together.
Yeah.
It's good advice.
Support. No, I truly believe that when you have support, you do better. Whether it's one person, like a healthcare professional, like a coach, you tend to do better, right? You said you have a trainer.
Yeah. Without Kev, I'd be honest, I would not have made it to the gym this week.
There you go.
Forget about today or this week because, you wake up and you're like, I don't want to go.
Yeah. And some some days you just don't want to do it.
You don't want to do it. Right? But I know.
That's human. That's human nature sometimes.
Exactly. But I know that he's standing at the gym. He's waiting for me. And then, you know, I get the text at 7 a.m. and it's like, oh.
Where are you?
You know, yeah, I'm coming.
Right?
I'll be there.
It's that accountability, right? And
Exactly.
I've found when I'm with those patients, keeping them accountable, right? We have weigh-ins, you know, in a month's time, we're going to have that appointment and you're going to be down 5 pounds. And if you're not, it's okay. We're going to keep going. We're going to figure out what's going on.
Exactly.
Right? We have to be kinder to ourselves, absolutely.
By
and
that,
each other.
Yeah, that's
And
definitely.
each other. We're all trying our best.
Of course.
We're all trying our best.
But by doing that and by being better, you could only find success, right? Business, personal life, cross-board.
Yep.
And so I think we've kind of gone through that a bit. And I'm wondering, is there anything else that you want to add?
Just don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid of being a better version of yourself, right? Fear is not a good motivator. Don't wait until you have a diagnosis of cancer or something that's more serious, right? To make a change. Because it's hard and very rarely do people change under those circumstances.
Well, health scares are probably, I'm guessing here, but I'm assuming that someone would have a health scare and then pick up the phone and call you, right?
I've had a few. Heart attacks, right? And that's great. Call me. I'm happy to help you. But if you're doing okay, make that change now. Don't wait. Don't wait.
You don't have to be not well
Right.
to start making a change.
It's harder.
To be more well.
It's harder
Yeah.
to make a change when you're not well.
Exactly.
So make that change now when you're doing okay, or even if you're not. It's just don't wait, is what I'm saying.
Don't wait.
Don't wait. Don't put it off. Your health is important. It is the most important. True health is the greatest wealth.
It is.
No matter what success you achieve, if it's a financial, if it's a financial for you, if success is financially driven, and again, success has a different definition for different
everybody,
people.
yes.
And I guess try to find the health in that success, because you'll be able to enjoy it so much more.
Well, of course, they say, not to be morbid, but many, many times I've heard this saying, if you ask anybody that's, on their deathbed, what is the one thing that, we wish you could change in your life? They're not going to say, I wish I made more money.
No.
They're going to say, I wish I spent more time on my health. I wish I could have come, fix this sooner. And so if we understand this truly, that we are only here for a fixed amount of time, then why not do everything we can to try to extend that time that we have here, if possible, or at least make sure that it's lived in the best way that we could. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's the message here today.
I also, to second that, another regret of the dying is worrying less, being in the moment, and spending time with people they love.
Yes. Yeah.
And when you're not well, you can enjoy those moments with people, and maybe for not as long as you want to.
Yes.
Right? You got to find your why. And if that strikes a chord for you and you feel like you need to get healthier for your child, then do it.
That's your motivation. Let's do it.
Find your motivation, put it on a mirror, put it on your screensaver, someplace that's you're gonna connect and resonate, because if it touches your soul, then it's gonna work. If it doesn't, and you haven't found that, keep searching for it.
Yeah, it's there.
It's there.
I think it's got to ask yourself the tough questions.
Yeah.
Right?
Self-reflection.
Yeah.
There's a lot of distractions in this world, right? electronics, TVs, social media, a lot of noise, if you will, right? And I don't think we do enough self-reflection, self-discovery, mindfulness, meditation. I think that's so important.
It is.
That's important.
Yeah, I mean, as crazy as some people think it is, I mean, my Sunday morning, hot tub session where my phone's like not with me, it's put away, and I'm just sitting there, maybe with the podcast in and just staring up at the at the sky and just thinking and being open to what's around you. And there's just something, I don't know, blissful about it, right? Just being in touch with your present.
You are,
right?
We're spiritual beings. We need to have that. We need to have that. As busy as our lives are, and we're surrounded by, I'm sure, lots of noise, people, and thoughts, right? Worries, stresses, to-do lists. There are many, but I think it's so valuable, and just part of being healthy is to be one, is to be at one sometimes with just yourself and be comfortable being with yourself, alone, with no distractions.
Exactly.
That could be scary for some.
Oh, yes.
That could be scary for some.
Yeah.
But it's important. It's an important thing as well. Yeah. I do agree. Oh. That's great. That sounds lovely.
It is. It's you can't run from yourself, right?
No. And there's that saying, you can plan a vacation, but you got to take yourself with you.
Exactly.
So you can plop yourself out of, the cold winter setting onto a beach, but your thoughts are still there. Your fears are still there. Your habits, whatever it may be, are still there. So you got to do the inner work.
You got to do the
inner work. And the sooner the better.
Always. Right? The best time to get started was always yesterday.
Yes.
Right?
Isn't that what they say in real estate? The best time to buy?
Always yesterday.
Always yesterday?
Always yesterday.
Should have taken that advice.
Yeah, next time, call Clyde.
Okay.
All right. So with that, Jen, I want to say thank you for coming on the podcast. This really was great.
It was.
I'm looking forward to continuing to talk with you and doing all the great stuff that you've helped me with. And as I've said before, this is this journey, because it is a journey, is one that I'm happy that I started. And again, thank you for that.
This was a nice treat for me.
Yeah.
Away from my kids. My boss almost didn't let me leave.
Oh, I can imagine.
So I promised her a lollipop on my way back.
Well, we got to make sure that you stop and get one then, right?
I know.
So, see, a little treat. It's okay.
Treat. It's okay.
It's okay. All right.
Thanks.
Well, with that, Uptown Experts, we're out.